So here with Charlie Kirk as he debate these college students, and of course he's accusing Charlie Kirk of making list of these woke professors that students should avoid them. I do not know if this could be considered as stereotyping or anything, but nevertheless, let's get on to the video and listen to their dialogue.
I just wanted to ask you a couple questions. Yeah, my name's Sumit. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to see you.
I saw that you were coming on campus, and I wanted to talk to you about something real quick, right? So, personally, I'm someone that really values free speech, right, and an uninhibited engagement among people that disagree. And it's really unsettling to me that you have this website, professorwatchlist.org, right?
Yep.
That basically tells conservative students that, hey, these professors are very liberal, and you should avoid them.
It doesn't say avoid them.
The official statement I read said it
Just to expose.
Okay, fine, expose. But even in that, I feel like that colors thought, so that it really teaches conservative people that
Do you think when a professor says something like the hurricane victims of Houston deserve to die because they supported Trump, do you think that professor should be called out for that?
I think, yes, it's important to call them out, but I don't think it's...
So that's what our project does.
Oh, I understand what you're intending to do, right? But how it's received is it's something where it's really, you're coloring their speech to where it's not free speech.
No, but
you're
we're not saying,
what to do
it's
beforehand.
not Professor Blacklist or Professor Hitlist.
But
we're not saying they should shut up or be fired.
But for example, so this one professor, I think his name was Alberto Ponce.
Okay.
I was reading the list and it said that he was, basically he was saying these things, and he was saying that, oh, the Constitution is a white man's Constitution.
That's a quite radical sentiment.
Sure, it's a radical sentiment, but it's protected by the First Amendment.
No doubt.
It's something that
you and I will agree on.
Right?
Yeah, that he has a right to say it.
Right. And
but also, my opinion would be we as conservatives need to signal where that radical ideology is present. And I don't understand, these professors, we're not misquoting them.
Yeah. No, I understand
all this
that.
stuff is, we're just making
but
them
would
more
you agree
famous.
that it's taken out of context, though?
But that's not my fault if someone takes something out of context.
But
so if I says your
providing
sweatshirt
the
is red,
database.
it's not anyone's fault except the interpreters.
Sure, but you're providing this platform for people to spread this misinformation.
Not necessarily.
You don't think it's a platform where people can spread misinformation?
You can say the same thing about the internet or Twitter or Facebook. It's not incumbent on the person who creates the platform to be responsible for how people interpret it.
Of course, but a lot of times when there are people kind of discussing this thing and they hold a similar view, then it creates something that's akin to blacklist. At least that's how I feel.
Okay.
That it's a lot like, the sentiment reminds me of something like McCarthyism back.
So
you're creating this list of people.
Well, okay. So first of all, McCarthy never published his list.
Sure.
So we have a list and we're very public about it.
Yeah.
Secondly, McCarthy called for the termination of people. We've never called for any termination of any professors.
But would you agree that you can incite some degree of violence against those?
No, not necessarily. No, none whatsoever. I mean, the same would be said if a news reporter. By the way, all these professors we have on there were reported on by other news outlets.
Yeah.
So we cited them.
Yeah, I understand.
So why not be mad at Huffington Post for all their articles they read about?
I guess my main question to you is basically with all this, right? Mm-hmm. My feeling is that it inhibits this free engagement because it tells people beforehand that, hey, this is what that person believes.
I would disagree. I think it encourages more speech.
Let me ask. All right. So my question is, how can you guarantee that this is not going to inhibit free speech?
You can never guarantee it. But we're using our right to free speech to encourage more speech.
Are you encouraging more speech, or are you silencing that speech?
How are we silencing it?
You're silencing it in the sense that you're telling students that, hey, this person has this preconceived notion, right? So you're giving students this idea that, hey, this professor thinks these things, he believes these things.
So then
when they take that class, they're not going to go into it with this open mind, being these free thinkers. They're going to go into it thinking, hey, this professor has this ideal. I should know that when I engage.
But what's wrong with that?
I think the thing that's wrong with that is
maybe they're more aware.
That's literally antithetical to free speech, would you say?
No, it's not.
I think it's important to engage with someone and rationalize their ideas.
Of course.
Instead of viewing them beforehand.
So when a professor says something like the hurricane comment, which is a real something the United States press said, or from University of Houston, or when the Georgetown law professor a couple weeks ago said, we want Brett Kavanaugh's family to die. They should be made famous when they say stuff like that.
I don't think they should be made famous, though, because then you're inciting violence against them. You're
How are you inciting violence?
You're inciting this negative sentiment.
It's like saying
towards
a
them,
newspaper
right?
incites violence when they cover anything.
But would you agree with me in saying there's a significant difference between a newspaper that's a public outlet and something like TPUSA and something like this, where you have a bunch of like-minded articles, right? So I don't know. My feeling is just that it creates this environment where speech is not equal.
I appreciate the sentiment.
Yeah.
You're being so respectful.
And I appreciate you coming here. And it was nice talking to you.
You too, man. Thank you.
that's a very interesting one. Listening to this very dialogue talking about this list of professor that will say some certain things, and then therefore being saying that maybe probably Charlie Kirk, understand, is making them to avoid some of these people, which he is trying to defend himself that he do not say so. But then, you know, if you look at, in a sense, some of those things look as if you're trying to stereotype, you understand, people if you do that. But nevertheless, it's been expected that people should not say some certain things, you understand, that will become a threat, okay, to some certain set of people. All right, because when you do so, then maybe probably whatever you are saying could be taken out of context. All right, and when it's being taken out of context, then that will result to some of these problems that we tend to have, you understand, in a society. Because if you look at it in a sense this very way, why should a professor says that maybe those students, understand, deserve to die just because they are Democrat, or just because they say that they want to vote for Trump? It does not what make sense. Of course, people should have right to vote on whichever candidate that seems best, you understand, to them. But you making, you understand, such innocent remark, I think that, you understand, is not good, you understand, for someone as a professor to make that kind of remark, because murdering, you understand, someone, you understand, is not right. So if someone, you understand, should die, then you be like, you understand, yes, the person deserves it just because you do not share the same interest or political, you understand, interest with that person. Then you feel like, oh, this person deserves to die. I think that that is not right. But then that is solely my own opinion, you understand, concerning some of these things. And I know that a lot of people would maybe disagree, you understand, with the professor, but nevertheless, the law itself, you understand, will still cover him up. But that's why we used to say that there should be freedom of speech, but that freedom of speech should not be abused, especially when it comes to threats to national security. Because of someone's remark resulted for somebody to die, then I think that whatever you should be saying is not supposed, you understand, to be considered, you understand, as freedom. I know that the law have its own way of taking care of things like that, or things of this nature, but then I think that such a person is supposed to be invited, so that that can be able to help to maybe reduce people making some kind of reckless, you understand, remarks, you understand, about some kind of situation. When the person is being invited and questioned, I think that that will be better. Nevertheless, people should be free to maybe voice out, you understand, a concern, you understand, about, you understand, situation. But then let's try to look at it, you understand, in such a way that you need not to say something to kind of offend, you understand, people, or that will even make someone to lose his life. And then when it comes to this very particular, you understand, discourse, of course, like, it's open to maybe different opinion, because people will look at it on a different level. And then that's the reason why I would prefer to hear your thought and opinion, you understand, concerning some of these things, okay, so that we can keep on, you understand, with this discussion. So this is the end of my video. If you like my reaction, you should like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any video you want me to react to, don't forget to drop it in the comment section, and I'm going to check it out. So you remain blessed, and I see you in my next video. Goodbye.